Fellas, welcome. We are live. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good.
Excellent.
How are you? Fantastic. I'm going to go around real quick. Everybody keeps telling me that I don't let people know who I'm talking to, especially when they aren't watching the YouTube. They're like, dude, who are you talking to? So these three guys are three people I've done business with and broke with quite a few times over the past couple years. I think I actually started with DJ for a while, breaking fucking jerseys and stuff. I got super addicted to that for some crazy reason, hoping I was going to hit a Walter Payton jersey every single time, and I'd get like the Cowboys and get a Bob Lilly, but that's how it goes.
Drew Pearson.
Yeah, there it is. But before I get into the word breaking, I have to explain what that means. My brother listened to the first podcast I had, and we went off on like a tangent about breaking, and he's texting me. He's like, dude, I'm listening to your podcast, and what the fuck are you talking about? Breaking stuff? You're breaking things in the cards? So a quick definition of what these three gentlemen do. They have boxes of cards. Inside those boxes of cards are different great players from all sorts of sports, and some of them break memorabilia as well. And basically, they random off a team, or you pay for a team, and whatever team you get those cards or that piece of memorabilia from that team. It sounds pretty simple. It is hyper addictive for some people, probably too much. We'll get into that later. But it is a lot of fun if you can control yourself. And these three guys, I'm very pleased to have on the podcast, and I really appreciate all three of yours time and giving me a shot to talk about card breaking amongst whatever other weird shit rolls out of my head. So we'll do a quick round the room so everybody knows, kind of how long you've been on doing breaks, your name, and DJ, I'll start with you because you're right beneath me.
You got it, man. DjSchrum, Budget Breaks STL. Been breaking for right at 3 years now. Got back in the hobby in 2018.
All right, Mikey.
Hi, I'm Michael Breon, but I go by MikeyB in the hobby. I collected as a kid. We don't need to talk about how long ago that was, but I got back in the hobby in 2017. Started breaking in 2018. My story, I'm sure, is very similar to everyone else. That 20 to 25 year hiatus in between. So, but yeah, I've been doing breaks full time as a job for just about 3 years now.
Oh wow! And Wiscardsin?
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm Justin with Wiscardsin Breaks, and we've been on Twitter for about 1.5 years now, and loving it. And obviously, I do it on the side right now. But I don't know. I collected when I was really young, and then stopped for a while, and then 2019, 2020, just like most other people, just kind of brought it all back for me. And there's a dude. Look at the cat's making a cameo.
I like it. Yeah,
the perils of doing work at your home. Like this
cat's like, it's time to rip some of these fucking boxes open, my man.
30 seconds into the podcast, this cat is never in this room. I'm so sorry.
I like it. Special guest. Look at
that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about it.
Nice. Well, welcome to the TastyBrains podcast, fellas.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the pleasure's all mine. And that was thunder. Holy crap. What I kind of wanted to start off with, I guess I hinted towards it. All of you have been breaking for a while. Do you guys join other breaks, or do you open your own stuff? Mikey, I know you ripped like a case of Prism football or something at the beginning of when it first dropped. I remember you posted a bunch of crazy pictures. Do you guys rip stuff on your own, or are you just? And feel free to, whoever chimes in first, then you guys just can bounce off of each other. Whoever's first, go ahead. Do you rip?
Yes, I rip myself personally. I haven't ripped for a couple of months. I got crazy with Spectre earlier this year. Got a little crazy with Select.
Mm-hmm. Select football?
Oh, yeah. Select football and Spectre football. And yeah, when I got back into the hobby in 2018, and much to Mikey, I'm 43 years old. I was doing it in the 80s and 90s and then got out of it. But I got back in 2018. A buddy of mine turned me onto it. He had never gotten out of it. And I started buying breaks on eBay. getting into
Oh,
bidding
boom.
wars on teams, and man, it was a disaster. Holy smokes, man! But
Sucks.
you want to talk about the addiction? It's the same thing on eBay, and you're like, I am not losing this team. Bam, 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 bam. It's like, ah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, for me that was where I started, getting back into it, and then late 2019 is when I started breaking.
That's crazy because I mean, all three of you have great following and strong people that consistently break with you. Like even me, I spread it around. I also keep myself on a super tight leash about how much I'm spending. That's mostly because of business wise. Mikey, how about you? Like I said, I know you open your own stuff because I seen you do it, but
Yeah, that's the problem with having all the stuff here.
My
First
bad.
advice is don't do that. No, but I occasionally get into other breaks. There's only a few people that I break with, and it's usually because I'm chasing a particular player. As an example, I went into a couple of college breaks for basketball, chasing Keegan Murray for Iowa.
Okay.
So other than that, not much, and that's because I do open some product on my own. I have a couple sets that I love every year: Contenders football, Spectre football, Triple Threads baseball, so on and so forth. And blessed to be able to either rip a couple boxes or rip a case. It depends. This year we kind of went a little crazy with that, mostly because we wanted to up our singles volume because we're doing a lot more card shows now. So it does help to obviously have some inventory there. So you get a little bit of a return. But mostly we do it just because it's fun. I mean, breaking's fun.
For
so
sure.
to be able to do that, so I work with my brother. He and I will rip a couple boxes together and just have a good time with it and just kind of, not take it too seriously. If we hit something cool, great. If not, we're like, yeah, whatever. It's the break. So yeah, we just try to have fun with it either way.
Yeah, that's badass. How about you? Old Wiscardsin,
Say-
the youngin of the group.
I would say, yeah, usually if I'm ripping or breaking something, it's because I'm looking for something specific. The guy I invest or collect the most in is Mahomes, and so I don't have a whole lot of money left over to do other things with, as you might understand. So, but yeah, like for example, coming up with draft, kid from my hometown, actually, Connor Prelip, he's actually going to be in draft this year, and so I'm going to be buying twins a bunch because I'm going to try to do his first Bowman Chrome Rainbow, and it's going to suck, but it's going to be fun at the same time. So stuff like that, I'll probably buy into breaks for. But like Diego, who's Sinbin Breaks, who's also a part of our breaking family, I will buy into his stuff because we talk all the time, and so I do sometimes, not a lot, but some. I think that these two other guys probably have more wax sitting around them than I do, so I have less temptation, which is great. But these two, you guys probably got wax everywhere, so I would probably not do as well in that environment.
Yeah, sometimes I'm watching. I'll just chime into people's streams, just see what's going on, and just poke my head in. Not really to even break, just watch for a little bit. And sometimes I look at the back of people's tables, especially DJ and Mikey, and I'm like, yeah, that is a lot of fun stuff right there. Do you guys ever open stuff and open boxes and hit some fucking monster, and you're like, why wasn't I opening this for myself? This is my moment.
No, I mean, honestly,
This is a two-parter, by the way, so be careful how you answer.
I was going to say I can't speak for these guys, but I actually find more enjoyment when I hit a big card for somebody
100%.
Whether it's because the value of the card or what I think is really the coolest is when I hit something that I know they're going to PC and it'll never leave their collection, and I know it's going to be a big deal to them, even if it's a $10, $20, $100,000 card or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, don't get me wrong. It is very cool to hit cool stuff for yourself, but I don't think it's anywhere close. I mean, I'd much rather hit for somebody else, because to us, we get excited because we're like, we know this is, that you can sell this for like changing money, or we know this is something that they're going to collect forever. And that is a really cool feeling. One of the best parts of the job by far.
I'm going to follow up on. Go ahead, Justin.
I'm sorry, DJ. I'm going to compliment you guys, so it's worth me jumping in. The one thing I wanted to say is, Paulie, I think the reason why you picked us three and why, people enjoy breaking with us is because we don't care about us. Like, it's not about us. It's about, what we can bring to our communities, whether it's like just talking randomly on a Saturday night about whatever game is on, or, we care about our customers, and that's why, I think that you maybe brought us on, or why we enjoy what we're doing. But to what he said, like, I find way more enjoyment hitting something for somebody else than for myself. Always
That's
have.
badass.
Yeah, without question. And the second piece to that is it feels so incredible because you just rock somebody's world. You rock their world. I mean, seriously, you change their life. I mean, I hit stuff from $2,000 to $50,000, and man, when you can sell a card for 20 grand, and I helped pay your rent or your mortgage, brother,
Insane.
What a blessing, man! What an
Right.
incredible blessing.
Yeah.
And the second piece to follow up with both of these guys, and I know they feel the same way. At the end of the day, I don't care. I just opened that 101. I touched it. It was in my hands. You know what I mean?
Right.
I opened that thing on my table, in my hands. Dude, that's incredible. You know what I mean? I have touched some incredible cards over the years. So
you guys are probably like me when you see that card like hit eBay or Twitter or whatever, and then it sells, and you're like, yeah, that was me.
I was in Dallas at the card show. This is months back. I jumped in a definitive break with DJ. I think it was like $48 or something like that. And definitive was, to me, it's the first time I've ever seen that product. I'm super new-ish to the hobby again. And I was like, man, this shit looks amazing. It's beautiful. I'm a big triple threads guy. I like all that kind of stuff. And I jumped into this break, and the way DJ does it, it's one box. You get the first serial number, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm at the card show. It's a Saturday. My wife is messaging me. She's getting a mega migraine. She's here in Houston, and she's got my kiddo with us. She's 5. She's also sick. So they're both, my wife's starting to get a full-blown migraines, can't even open her eyes and function as a human. I'm up in Dallas, so I'm like, I grab my buddy. I go, hey, man, we're going to have to leave early. And he's like, shit, man. I'm like, yeah, I know, man. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. So we get in the car. We're heading back to the hotel, and I'm like, shit, I forgot I was in that break. And I opened the phone to the Twitch, and I think to Twitter, and I DM DJ. I'm like, hey, did I get anything? He's like, oh, you should watch it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's the best message ever.
Yeah. So he's going through it, and I think the first card he hit, I got the number 1 out of the serial numbers, which is a great number to get sometimes. And the first card I think was a Bryce Harper out of 10. Yeah, one out of 10 gold frame Bryce Harper auto. And I'm like, holy shit, that's amazing. That's probably one of the best cards I've ever gotten in a break. Second card, he's like, where's Paulie at? Paulie's not in the chat. He's like, what the hell? Second card was something else for somebody else. And then the third card was a 1 of 20. He's like, I can't believe this. Paulie's not in the chat. Are we sure? 1 of 25 Wander Franco auto. And I'm like, God damn. I'm like, I'm crushing it right now. So he pulls the other card, and then he's like, he puts it down. He's like, all right, somebody get Paulie in the chat, because I can't explain what's happening right now. And I'm to this day a little still angry that I traded it for a bunch of stuff I really PC'd. And it was a 101 Derek Jeter auto. It's hilarious. So I'm in this like, fuck, I got to get home. Wife's sick. Everything's going crazy. And meanwhile, I'm texting her at the same time, I'm like, babe. And she's like, cool card. Get the fuck home. I'm like, all right. What is the biggest cards you guys have hit? Like biggest card, I guess would say cards. Card.
Oh, this ain't fair. These two been doing this longer than me. That ain't fair.
Yeah, you've hit some hammers.
Yeah. Well, why don't I go first? Because I'm gonna finish.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You go first.
It was 2020 absolute last year, or 21 absolute last year was the Justin Jefferson 101 green Kaboom, probably.
Oh, it's amazing. God, those Kaboom, and it's Kaboom fever right now.
I know. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But that same thing as Mikey said, that was for a guy. It's J Jets Collectors, who you guys probably know. He used to be Bays. Is that his name? So like, I think he probably has the nicest Justin Jefferson collection.
Yep.
Other than like,
Anyway,
I got to see this.
Other than like, a card shop dealer in Minnesota that just has endless income, right? That probably just buys everything. But like on Twitter, I've never seen a better Jefferson collection than his. And so like to be able to add that piece that he probably never would have gotten otherwise through a break was crazy.
Yeah, that's amazing. Mikey?
It's tough because obviously values just fluctuate so much.
Sure.
One of my personal favorites is last year, Kaboom, we hit a Brady Gold out of 10. That's the only time I had a customer fly here, personally pick the card up, fly home, grade it, and then like sell it literally like within a week, and did very, very well on it. So that was just a cool experience, just because to meet people who break with you is one of the cool things about what we do. But
for sure,
when it's justified to spend a couple $100 on a plane ticket, on a hotel. I mean, he was in town literally less than 10 hours. And
that's awesome.
when we hung out for an hour or whatever, it was after a night of break-in, and hand delivered the card to him at his hotel, and it was awesome. We just hung out for a little bit.
That is badass.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, we've hit we hit some LaMelo 1-of-1 out of Flawless.
You hit that Josh Allen that ended up on If Sports.
Yeah.
Last month.
We have a lot of big cards that we've hit in like private breaks where we have like a group where we don't do everything on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes we rip some pretty high-end products. So like a Lewis Hamilton out of Dynasty that I think was out of 5 or something like that. So there's a little bit of everything, but same sort of thing. It's like, those are all cool, but that $100 card too, that, is
that's
right. Always fun too. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
DJ?
Yeah. For me, I know one gentleman that sold a Herbert NT card last year for over $30K, which was pretty wild.
Yeah,
I know another
insane.
I know another gentleman that I hit a Flawless to 25 autograph. I know he sold it, but I have no idea what it went for. But I got it.
Herbert?
Pretty close. Yeah, Herbert. But what's interesting, and I'm sure these two guys feel the same way as I do, some of my favorite pulls I've ever pulled aren't necessarily the most expensive cards ever. Like one of my favorite cards ever was a Sandy Koufax card. It was the most coolest autograph card I've ever pulled in my life.
That's badass.
Yeah, I pulled a Tom Brady 1-of-3, and and again, they're still valuable cards, but they're nowhere close to a $30,000 card.
Yeah.
But,
sure, it's like pulling a Kobe auto. You see somebody pull a Kobe auto, and you're like, "Holy cow, that's got to be nuts."
Yeah.
I posted a video the other day. It was I want to say it was Cheap Fun Breaks. I watch some of his stuff once in a while, and he pulled a Giannis Logo Man auto. Cool. But somebody told me this was old. It was like
it was like 2014 when that product came out. I did see that resurface again.
Just insane. I'm like, what?
Interesting, because I heard Giannis kept a lot of his big cards.
He did. He does.
So he frequents my parents' restaurant in Milwaukee all the time. My folks got a place right across the street.
Restaurant in Milwaukee.
Carson's Ribs. It's right across the street from the stadium.
I'm gonna have to go then.
Yeah,
I'm close.
That's cool.
Yeah, he goes in there. He goes in there quite a bit. A funny story. He showed up there one night when the restaurant was closing with his mother, and my dad was the only one there at the time. With he let some of the cooks go, and he shows up and he's like, "Hey, Mr. Carson, can I get some Greek chicken?" I know, and he's like, I let all the cooks go. Yeah, I got you. So he ended up making Greek chicken for his mom and him one night. I'm like, I need the autograph. I don't need the chicken.
Right.
Give me one sec to power up.
And the funny part about that card in particular, obviously the market has gone up exponentially since 2014. But in 2014, Giannis, I mean, it wasn't valuable at that time. I mean.
Right.
It was 1-of-1, obviously, but I bet that card would have sold for what do you guys think? I don't know, $500 maybe.
Oh man, I wish I was collected in 2014. I mean, if I could go back in time when boxes were dirt cheap, and you could buy rare cards for nothing.
Yeah.
And me in 17 with Mahomes, I know people probably could have retired with Mahomes' stuff in 17.
That's a sore subject for me. I sold way too many big Mahomes cards early.
But you're not the only one. You're definitely
no. I'm not. So
I see the old Twitter posts sometimes will resurface. They were selling the hollow rated rookie from Optic for $20.
Oh my God!
Can I go back in time?
Yeah. Yeah, it's anytime that does I don't know if you guys have Time Hop or whatever on your phone where it shows you your post from years before. Anytime it's a 2017 post and it's look at this Mahomes I just hit. I'm
son of a bitch.
For every Mahomes, there's some Jamarcus Russell. So
exactly.
That's
someone you wish you got
damn sure.
Earlier.
Easton Stick.
Yeah,
many Jamarcus Russells. Yeah.
Do you guys? So all three of you, Justin, you're completely correct. Your three's customer service is amazing. Your interaction with the people. It's funny because I was going to dip my toe into the breaking world, and I immediately tried to fill one break, and I'm like, nope, this is not my swimming pool, and I'm not going to even try to swim in here. I'll stay stacking my little cardboard cards and let the breakers do their thing. Not that it's people think it's like an easy thing to do, to just, we're going to open up cards. We're going to fill this break right away. Everything's going to be great.
Yeah, they do.
And it's not that easy at all, like, cause I hear, and especially if you hear somebody new, you always know when somebody's new. Most of the time they're kind of fumbling around, fucking with the penny sleeves and all that. And they lose like that guest interaction thing, and they kind of stop talking. Everything kind of starts melting down. I used to see it in my old job in the helicopter all the time. We'd give them I'd give them a scenario, and all of a sudden I'd like jam their gun or something, and then they would scoping into like hell. They're like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "Dude, there's a plane flying over there," and they're like, "Oh shit," everything kind of melts down, but you guys crush it. You're always talking. Mikey, I know you do it with your buddy. I don't remember his name. Or is that your brother?
Yeah.
Okay. All three of you guys crush it. And I expected those responses from you about the big cards. What do you guys think about the other breakers out there that do hit the big cards, but sometimes they don't make it to the person they're supposed to go to? Mic drop.
Well, I mean, I look at it this way. There's hundreds of people that do what we do, and you're dead on in that everyone's got a different style, and some people like certain things. Some people like crazy circus antics and shirtless men and stuff like that, and that's cool. More power to you. That's not me. My clothes stay on for all intents and purposes. But
what about MikeyB After Dark, though?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like, is that like Cinemax?
Yeah. So I mean. No, I think what's cool is that you can search around and find something that's going to be your niche, whether it's the people that you're breaking with in the chat, the breaker themselves or whatever. As far as like you hear these horror stories and these things about people doing things not the right way, regardless of the situation or whatever, I think the best advice I always give people is like, there's hundreds of people that do this the right way. Don't spend your time and money with them,
And that's a great point, because I don't now. I understand hype. I understand it really, really well. And I know that like groups like Backyard and a few others, they can really ride that hype. And when that, like the gold, we were talking about kabooms, when the big gold Trevor Lawrence kaboom thing debacle happened, I'm not going to poo poo on them, whatever, it like you said, there's 100 people you can break with. If you choose to still do business with somebody that has a shady past, or there has some allegations, whether they're real or not, thrown at them, and you choose to still do business with them, I just don't understand why, if you had a question in the back of your head, why you would continue to do business with, since there is so many people to break with, I mean, you go on Whatnot, which none of you are on, correct? No Whatnot.
I have an account. I'm not on it.
And is there a reason why? I'm just curious. Not your shtick, or just not? You guys got amazing followings on Twitter. So
that you hit the nail right on the head there, Paul. If you have a big following and you're successful in filling, why would you give a percentage to Whatnot? What do they give you? That doesn't make any, from a business perspective, it makes zero sense to me why an established breaker would ever be on there. Now, if you're a card shop and you want some other way to break product or something like that, or if it's something that you do above and beyond normal,
sure.
Yes, but we did a similar type app for a little while, and we kind of asked ourselves the same question. It's like, why are we spending time over here giving up a percentage when we're really breaking it with the same people? So
were you on loop, Mikey?
To me, it just doesn't make much sense to do that.
What'd you say, Justin?
I was saying, were you on loop, Mikey?
Yeah, I was on loop, and good people, and I absolutely love them a lot more than Whatnot. But it's the same sort of thing.
I agree.
There are features they didn't have that we wanted, and they didn't come around to them, and so forth. And once again, I love the people all day. They're awesome. I have nothing bad to say about our experience there. It just wasn't for us.
DJ, you still, and you got an account, but you just said, fuck it, I don't need this.
Well, but like Mikey, the same thing with the Loop. I had tried that, but wasn't really a fit for me. The Whatnot, I looked at it. I mean, it was more of, I'll call it a young man's game. It's just not my wheelhouse. I'm an old guy, dude. I'm 43. Like I said, I'm not a tech guy. The whole Twitter thing and Instagram and all that stuff. I mean, I'm max capacity.
Right.
I don't.
Dude, you guys are all three as well. Another compliment. And
DJ, you're not on the TikToks yet?
No. My 13-year-old daughter is doing the TikTok crap, and I'm like, I don't know how to do this crap.
You guys are fucking wizards with the computers, man. I'm watching you guys tick 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 tick, and I'm like, God damn. You guys are doing good. You guys are doing really good. Man, I just lost my train of thought. Giving you guys another compliment. No more compliments. I tried Whatnot for a little bit, and I'm not in the breaker world. I do jump on there once in a while to get into a break, but man, it is always you guys never complain. All three of you never complain. But on there, there is always a complaint, and it's not from the person buying into the break. I mean, unless they get dog shit cards or none. But the breakers are usually just fuming. It's always a, come on, wake up, blah, blah, blah. And it's slowly just, I like it because it's a good way for me to get cheap inventory. That's mostly why I do breaks, unless I get a team I want and that can afford it. Unfortunately, the Bears have fucking Justin Fields. So, I'm shit out of luck on Walter Payton cards. And Walter Payton kabooms for that matter. I'm wondering how long do you guys see future in Whatnot at all? Do you ever see people coming from Whatnot or other platforms and being like, I'm happy I joined Twitter? I'm always wondering why more people are not on Twitter, whether that's joining stack sales, joining breaks. I don't know if there's a real question in there, but
I think of all,
go ahead, DJ. Please.
I was going to say, of all the social media platforms, Twitter is the tiniest of them all, right? There's just shy of 500 million active users, which in the scale and the landscape of all of them, it's tiny.
Sure.
I think from a marketing perspective, everything that's going on, it certainly isn't attracting new users. Right. Honestly. And then I think with each of these platforms is kind of, a target group of audience, I would think, right? So like the TikTok, I see a lot of these young teenage girls, like my daughter's age, right? From 13 to 22, 23 years old. Those of you that don't know, I have a 24-year-old daughter too.
Holy
TikTok,
crap.
So both of them from 13 to 24 nonstop, right? Twitter, a lot of my guys on Twitter are, I would call my age from 20 to 60 range, right?
Right.
And so the Whatnot seems to be a lot of younger generation, 18 to 25 range. So, I think that's kind of where Twitter is at. And I think, my following's grown. I know Wisconsin's has grown. I assume Mikey's have grown over the last few years. And it's an organic growth. You know what I mean?
Right.
You look at what these knuckleheads like the Backyard's doing. It's just so explosive.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable. But, what they're doing is crazy with marketing. They're getting a lot of funding. They're getting a lot of stuff. And so,
hype.
Yeah.
Hype it up.
But you look at the community, man, and Twitter, it's an incredibly strong community, and what you're doing, you're organically building it and growing it. And, the hobby is a big, giant family. And then within it is these little small pockets of families, this Wisconsin family and MikeyB family, and then Budget Breaks family and, Pauly B family and on and on and on. And that's the beautiful thing, man. We get to, interact and connect with these little bitty cards with guys' faces on them.
That's right.
How sweet is that?
Sometimes girls, once in a while.
Yeah, occasionally.
I talked to a lot of breakers at the industry summit in Vegas a couple months ago, and I don't know if Whatnot's going to stay or go away. Who knows? They kind of, a year ago, no one heard of them, right? And now they're like one of the biggest things ever. Is that sustainable? I don't know. I think
crypto.
there's a series of things that would have to happen for it to go away. But But I also, I mean, it's funny because I talk to people that exclusively break on Instagram. And one of the things that I'm floored with, and DJ, you're around my age, so maybe this isn't crazy to us, but some of the biggest breakers in the world only break on Facebook.
Yep,
that's
I'm
wild.
like, I haven't been on Facebook in a decade, so I mean, like, so it's just there's literally people are everywhere. The platforms are out there, and certain platforms have benefits versus others. So same sort of thing. It just depends on whatever floats your boat and whatever community you feel good in. But there literally is something forever. And trust me, no one's ever going to agree on one universal one. So there are people that are not going to like whatnot. There's people that are not going to like Facebook Live or whatever. So do it, you do you. Whatever floats your boat, man. So
Justin, you're the young buck out of all three of us. Actually, I'm 41, so you're on Twitter too, just like them two. And you're obviously newer than Mikey and DJ. But I've noticed an uptick in your breaking and group, kind of your breaking house. Maybe it's because I'm closer to it, just because I'm in the chat and stuff. But have you guys thought about venturing into this is all, I guess, going to stem into how to grow your business in a way.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for ways to grow, even with stack selling. Justin, what about you? I mean, are you strictly going to stay with Twitter, or do you ever see yourself Instagramming and full-time breaking kind of thing?
Yeah. So I originally started this with my buddy Dylan, and obviously Dylan's not with us anymore because he's doing full-time cards now. He has a full-time card job with a local LCS, but he spends a lot of his time on Loop right now.
Wow.
And what I see more often than not with these card shops is they're just doing rip and ships really more than breaking. And so a lot of their lower end extra product that they struggle to move in the shop, they'll go on live on Loop and see if they can move some of it. I've never felt the need to do either one of those things, just because I'm kind of like, I do have a few other breakers that break with me, but like I'm almost at like DJ, like at max capacity. Like I have a full-time job. I do this on the side. And so I'm pretty much at max capacity. Like I feel like we could continue to keep growing. But I also enjoy the small type of community that we have because it's special to me. And I really don't ever want to get to that point where like somebody's buying and I don't even know who they are. Like I enjoy knowing who they are. But yeah, I mean, if I hired more staff or something like that, then maybe I'd consider it, but we're good right now. And as far as Instagram goes, I'm more interested in that platform, especially as DJ mentioned with some of the things going on Twitter. Some very interesting things going on, people thinking that it's going to crash and that Twitter's going to go away, which isn't going to happen. But I think, maybe using a combination of both of those would be good, but yeah, we're fine. We've been growing our community on Twitter pretty well, and we're happy with that. So,
what would you guys tell somebody if they were like, "Hey, I'm going to start breaking tomorrow. What do I do?"
No,
don't do it.
Good luck.
No. It's it's so much more than what people think. I mean, it truly is, man. I mean, when I was buying into it and I started doing it, it was more than I thought. And then as we kept growing, it was more than I thought. And it was just continuing to adapt and adjust and change the processes. And, but at the end of the day, really what I would tell anybody that wants to start breaking, and we've already addressed this, don't make it about you. Make it about the community. Make it about other people, man. Honestly, I never started doing this to like make money or do any of this other stuff. I started this thing, and my biggest slogan back in the day was breaking on pizza budget, because when I started this, it was still kind of semi-cheap. Today we're like filet mignon money. But it was like,
filet bricks.
Like, man, how do we get people in the action here for relatively inexpensive? That's the name of the game. So just make it about people. Make it about people. Serve your customer well, and you'll be fine.
I think,
and there's plenty of business, man. That's the thing I tell everybody. Like, there is, just as I said, there's 500 million active users on Twitter. There's nobody that's going to get stolen from me or something, is hijacked. I mean, there is so much business out there. And in my other business that I do, I mean, there's business for everybody, right? There's plenty of market share.
Right.
Just do your thing, find your lane, and find what works for you, and stick with it, and serve your customer well. You'll be good.
That's really hard to. That's a great point, and I find myself sometimes, even with what I do, whether it's podcasting now or stack selling, I'll get wrapped up in my head with a competitiveness, and I want to be the best, stack seller on Twitter. Not that that's like something I want to fucking put on my wall over here, but you know what I mean? It's just, I want to be the best. And and if I see people not with me, I'm like, fuck, what am I doing wrong? Am I coming across too corny, or am I trying too hard? Or, just like you said, there's 500 something million people out there. You just got to kind of be patient and, for lack of a better term, touch them all, as gross as that sounds. Mikey, any tips for the beginning breaker?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of ways that you can start, and I think a lot of it's just experimentation, not being afraid to fail. I think most people need to understand, especially as they're starting, is that the money's probably not going to be there right away. You've got to get allocation, you've got to build your crew. I mean, the first year I did breaks was literally me and 2 or 3 friends buying a couple boxes from my local card shop, splitting the cost, doing a live draft for teams, and then I ripped and then sent it to everyone, and they, we all chipped in for shipping or whatever. And then 4 friends became 10 friends, became 20, and so on and so forth. So I think starting small. I think a lot of what I see when people really struggle is they come in there and they want to go straight to step 30.
Of course,
and it's like, dude. Step one, you got to build your communities. Step 2, you got to get some content out there so people understand who you are, what you stand for, yada yada yada. But I see people that are like, all right, I got a website, I got merch, I got a case of Flawless, I'm on Whatnot, I have 2 people
and nobody to sell,
and I'm going to do auctions for teams, and you wonder why you get pissed off. So it's like, don't set yourself up for failure. Start small. And organically grow. And like everyone has said in this chat here already, is that if you do things the right way, if the customer is your first priority, and you don't have your pets ruin your live streams, honestly, it will come with time. But it is not. I mean, it took me 5 years to get to where we are right now. It was not an overnight thing at all. And I think the other side of that too is that people have to understand that hour or 2 hours or however long you live stream where you're opening packs, the fun part of the job, that's 10% of the job.
Yeah.
It's the 85 hours I put in building our website, packaging things up, ordering stuff, dealing with customer issues, yada, yada, yada. And I applaud both of you guys if you're still doing full-time work. I mean, I did that for a little while and I thought I was going to go crazy.
I do, believe me.
Yeah. It's just, you have to. Yeah. I mean, just take into account, it is the greatest job in the world. Absolutely. But you have to work your ass off to get there. And if you're not willing to do that, then you won't be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, what do you got?
The one thing that I think of, and this is more so for people who choose to break with, like who you want to choose to break with, and this kind of was the question before that, so it kind of works, is the way I built this was like, I don't want people to choose the breaker based on what they do when things are going well. I want to break with the person who I know will take care of me when things aren't going well, right? So I don't want the breaker that's just going to pull me huge fire cards all the time, every break I'm in, because guess what? That isn't going to happen. Promise you, that isn't going to happen. You'll hit some really nice cards every once in a while. You always will, and you have fun doing it. But like, I built this off of like, what am I going to do for people when they spend $200 and get nothing, right? Like, that doesn't stand for me. It never has, and it never will. And so, big part of our brand and one of the things we do different is we send packs with most of our breaks. And if it doesn't go well, at least you've got something to look forward to. And it was more relevant in 2020 when wax was hard to find. It's very expensive. Retail wax was impossible to find. And so it made a little bit more sense then, but it still makes sense for us now. And, if somebody spent $300 with me and didn't get anything, I'm going to take care of them because that's just what I think is the right thing to do.
I think I sold retail wax to Mikey and you, Justin, in my evil Walmart days.
Yeah,
in my evil Walmart
those were
days.
crazy times. But yeah, like DJ said, if you put your customer first, then I think if you don't have that, then I don't think it's going to work. It might for a while, but that's really what's going to last. And that's what also makes it the most fun. Like, sure, I love opening cards, but I've also developed a lot of friendships with our community, with people even I've never met and I may never meet, but I still feel like we're close friends based on like just on a Monday Night Football talk. I'm like, dude, why is Kyler, not playing well tonight? Like, whatever. Like, we'll talk about stuff like that all the time, and even family, personal stuff too. Like,
Sure.
you want to talk about what's going on at home? Like, I'm here to listen. I always will be. So just like our DMs are open, like that type of stuff.
Do you guys miss 2020?
Some parts of it.
Yes, I mean there's good and bad. I mean,
speaking of Walmart retail.
No, I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, the amount of product that we've ripped has come way down.
Yep.
Scales come way down, and so forth. But not necessarily. I don't think necessarily, because I can't speak for these guys, but like our goal was never to become the biggest breakers. Our goal was never to break 7 days a week. It's my brother and I. And I feel we're pretty topped out at where we are right now. So we're like,
Yep.
if we could just be the best version of who we are right now, then we'll make it. Some parts of the hobby in 2020 were really great, but obviously there were a lot of issues. Wax prices were expensive and so forth. So, that was tough. And, there's nothing like spending $1,500 on a spot for a high-end product and you hit nothing and you're like, oh gosh, that's really tough. And then at the same time, I also remember the good times, like, oh, I got a Clyde Edwards-Helaire base prism card and I can sell for $35 because he had a
Insane.
great one. So I think the hobby's going to ebb and flow, and there's going to be positives and negatives no matter what. So even right now, for us, as we're a little quieter than where we were a year or so ago, there's some things that I wouldn't trade out of that we do right now that we couldn't do in 2020.
And it's funny because 2020, that's kind of, I mean, I got back into it right around then, like 90% of the people on Twitter right now. And when I got back in, I never even knew what a break was, just like most people. And I can't even remember the first one I jumped in. I didn't get anything good. And then I started this, stack selling venture. And it's funny how much things have changed over the past couple years, just like a normal market would.
Yep.
That's kind of a two-parter to 2020. I like it. I'm kind of like you, Mikey. I like it better now for certain things than other things, like selling LaMelo Ball base prisms for $50 is rather insane. And I feel like now it gets. The hobby right now is like a doom and gloom kind of thing, and I wonder if that's just people that jumped in 2020 that were buying LaMelo Ball base prisms for $50, $40, $250, like some of the first ones went for, and they're like, why did I take out that credit card and now I'm getting crushed, and having some buyer's remorse. Do you think with all you guys, do you think with the whole Fanatics stuff, Topps, Panini, blah, 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 whatever the fuck is going to happen in the next 3-5 years is going to better the business, better the breaking? Do you see it growing, or do you see it just like, okay, Fanatics got it and you have to be a Fanatics certified breaker to break, or some weird shit like that? Do you see it causing more problems, or just, are we just going to keep rocking and rolling? It's going to hit another upswing.
I think I'll start with some positives. I think, I don't have an allocation, obviously, so I don't know a lot of the stuff behind the scenes as far as Fanatics is going to change things for people. What I am excited about is that they spent a lot of money on this. Like, they spent a ton of money on this. And if it fails, their whole company is going to fail. Not just, I mean, they spent a ton of money on it. And what I'm excited for is, I remember when the deal first happened, is like, we're going to start seeing like card advertisements on like football games, like in between, and like in stadiums, we're going to start seeing advertisements for cards. And I think that's exciting. Like, it's going to reach a lot more people that don't normally see it. And I think they're going to help bring a bit more of the hype back, hopefully. especially if we start seeing licensed Topps Chrome basketball, Topps Chrome football, that type of stuff again,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
gonna go crazy. So I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited for that. I can't speak on, some of the back end issues. Unfortunately, I'm sure there's some hobby shops that may get screwed out of stuff. I'm sure that's going to happen too. So, yeah, I missed some parts of 2020, but I do think we're going to go back up here pretty soon. One part I think about 2020 that people also sometimes overlook is like that was a superb time for some crazy athletes at the same time. Like
That's true.
2020 didn't exist just because people were interested in cards again. Like we're talking about, Herbert and Burrow and Ja and Zion, like these big name athletes that are
Last
playing
Dance.
at a really high level. And I think that really helped, because now here we are in 2022 where football products kind of taken a step back, right? Because they don't have the quarterbacks that we're trying to buy right now. And so I think the athletes play a role in it too, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
And so when I'm looking at 23 and 24 football with all these young quarterbacks that are coming, Stroud, Williams, those types of guys, I think we're going back up again soon.
I like the positive outlook. DJ, you got something?
Yeah, on the Fanatics deal, I think to Justin's point, yes, I have said that many times in my live streams. I mean, at the end of the day, man, Fanatics spent billions of dollars. And trust me when I tell you I'm a business guy. I've been in business my entire life, and you don't spend that kind of coin with a plan to lose money. I'm telling you.
Yep.
And so, like, how I explained it to my friends and my buddies in the hobby, I said, just think of it like this. I mean, Fanatics is doing $70 billion a year. I don't even know what it is, but they already have an existing customer database, right? And they know, hey, if I can just flip 2%, 3% of my existing customer database to become a card collector, a hobby enthusiast, man, revenue will drive. Do you follow what I'm saying? And
Sure.
It's an accumulative effect, man, over the course of the next several years. So hands down, the hobby is far from dead. So the doom and gloom is just a macro scale problem. It's just not the hobby. You talk to anybody in any store, they're all doom and gloom. Everybody is doom and gloom today.
Correct.
But dude, it's gonna be phenomenal. And next year's draft class is gonna be phenomenal, 110%. So you take into account all the macro stuff, man, and it's just in a crappy draft class, and things slow down.
Yeah. I agree.
If
Mikey?
you look at,
Yeah,
sorry, I was
Sorry,
going to
Justin.
one more thing in here.
Go ahead, Justin.
Sorry, guys.
Please.
I mean, if
Go
you
ahead,
just
brother.
look at the amount of growth that Fanatics has done as a company over the last couple of years, should sort of speak for itself, right? Like, in the whole merch, like you can't buy sports merchandise without it being touched by Fanatics in some way, shape, or form. Like, it's just not possible.
That's crazy.
That's huge.
I didn't even think about that.
I mean, they own you go buy Falcons gear, you go buy Badgers gear, wherever you go, it's run by them. Their interface runs everything.
And to the card point, nobody knows what's going to happen. I've talked to so many people, so many back-end people, and no one really knows. But what everybody realizes is Fanatics went in and went, hey, there's just a pile of profit margin to be made. We can just wipe out all this distribution. Holy crap, what are you guys doing? You morons, right? And like legit. And so now they can sell to guys like Mikey or Justin or myself and give us a little bit of a break, right? Versus what we're paying. And they're going to make,
because no middleman.
Bingo. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a win for the breaker. It's a win for them on better profitability. And then all the middle guys are wiped out.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things in the hobby that are archaic, whether it's this distribution model or other things. I think that, I come from a healthcare background. That's where I worked prior to the hobby. And one thing we had to be nimble about in healthcare is that things could change literally in a day. Mm-hmm. So if you're afraid of change and you're not going to change, you're going to struggle. Doesn't matter what Fanatics does or whomever it is, you're going to struggle because the hobby, like everything else in this world, is constantly evolving. So that being said, I don't have any inside scoop or anything like that. I listen to the same people and, I go to the same conferences and I talk to the same folks, and I don't know what's going to happen. But what I do know and where I feel good is that it doesn't matter where the boxes or cases come from. It doesn't matter how much they are. Breaking is always going to exist because no matter those two variables, people are always going to be willing to pay less to get a portion of something that they collect, whether it's their team or the risk of random team for the entertainment value.
Right.
So that's always going to be there. So if you have a good community, if you are entertaining so that people want to spend time and their money, engaged with you, it doesn't matter if I get that case from Fanatics at wholesale or if I have to buy it from a big retailer or whatever.
Right.
I still have my, stuff that I've got to do to cover my expenses and so forth. And ultimately, you're going to look at, okay, am I priced compared to my competition and so forth, like any business is. And then you just have to make those adjustments. And if you're scared of those adjustments or where those things are coming from, then it's going to be a tough racket. So, for us, we're always like, listen, man, we're just going to roll with the punches. We can't control that stuff. It is out of our hands. So I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm just going to say that, what, we have a plan. If this happens, we have a plan. If this happens, and if something completely different happens, well, guess what? We're not rocket scientists, but we're not dumb either. We'll put our heads together and we'll figure out how do we make this work. So,
and the other thing that will always be true is that we control whether cards are valuable or not. Like, we as the collectors, at the end of this get to decide whether we think cards are valuable or not, whether it's a valuable trading market or not. We get to decide. Like, that's still going to be up to us whether we find it to be valuable. So the people that are saying like, oh, card market's crashing, cards are dead, whatever, like, if you just change your attitude, you're not helping. You're part of your own issue, which I don't even think it's really an issue. Like, markets ebb and flow, but cards are always now, thanks to the 2020 boom, can still be an asset for trading. Like, I don't know much about the stock market, but I do know a lot about sports and cards, and you can use that in a way to make money. And even if
100%.
even if it's only going to be, maybe it's only going to be $50 into a 75 versus, 500 into 1,000. You're still going to be able to make money doing this. That's never going to change either.
If that's your goal, right? Or your goal could be
right. If that's your goal,
you can still enhance a collection or chase people that or your favorite team or whatever. And there is a lot of negativity in the hobby. I think it's especially bad on Twitter. Unfortunately, I try to block most of those accounts. But I just look at, okay, let's look at like facts. And facts is what you see with your eyes, right? So, our breaks are filling up, just as fast as they ever have. I've been to 2 card shows in the last month. They were slammed. The National this year had more people than I've ever seen at it. And everyone I talked to that had tables there said they slaughtered it. So the hobby ain't dead. I mean, maybe that's just someone's perspective or negative attitude. It's different, but different doesn't equate to fading away. I mean, this hobby's been around since, before any of us were born. So
I think it's just more realistic now. 2020 was like a mirage that was full of water, and you put your favorite people around it, and it was amazing, and everything was so great. You couldn't make a mistake, really. You could rip and be okay if you know how to move this stuff. Now it's people like, oh, just like you guys said, you're breaking, and people watch you break, and they're like, oh, that's pretty easy. And it's like, oh yeah. If you think it's just I'm opening these fucking cards, brother, you got another thing coming. I got to ship these 50 other packages out tomorrow, and then I got another 150 the next day. So it's a job. It's not. Yes, it's fun, and yes, it's great. But just like in 2020, when everything was great and you loved it, if you really loved it, you can still do it now and still do the same thing.
Yeah.
Just be realistic with yourself and where things are. And some of the negativity, I guess, is warranted in certain ways. I think also negativity is not really warranted or needed, but I like shit to be realistic. And I don't mind people calling somebody out, I mean, like, hey, asshole, why'd you hide that card? You literally just ripped some poor guy off, but I do like the other side of the coin to be shown as well, and I'm thriving well. You guys are thriving well. And I'm sure there's another 1,000 other people that are doing 10 times better than a million times better than I am, with just cards. And I still think it's an untapped market for a lot of the people that still, just like my brother, what the hell is breaking? There's still people out there that are, and he's a sports fucking guru. And I'm like, why don't you get into cards, man? You'd have so much fun. I don't know anything about it. I'm like, you know who all the players are for every team imaginable. You're like a Rolodex in your brain. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, maybe I'll start collecting cards. It's like, yeah, why wouldn't you? What do you? It's great.
The
Go ahead,
only
Justin.
reason I brought that up, Mikey, as far as like the investment side of the hobby, was because I feel like those are the people that are saying the hobby is dead, and that's
You're
because
absolutely right. You're absolutely right,
all
Justin.
the cards they bought for $300 are now worth $150, and they're going, this thing failed me, right? So I think the true collector is enjoying this a lot more than they were maybe in 2020, where they couldn't go to Walmart and grab a box. They couldn't do it, but now they can, and that's great for collectors. That was the only reason why I brought that up, is because that's
it's
where
a great point. Great point.
I feel like those are the people that are saying that, is because, it's mostly just an investment for them, and they're saying cards are dead because that's really what they're in it for.
And to you, Paul, I agree. Like, I wouldn't say negativity is calling out people who scam. I think that's not negativity to me. That's informing people. That's
Right.
I'm talking about the people that are like, this car is dead, the business is dead. You can't sell anything, and then no one's going to shows, and prices are too high. And it's just like the constant bitching. I was like, I can't handle that. So to me, I'm like, I'm going to turn that off, because that just brings me down, and I don't want that affecting me. Plus, I know it's not true. So to me, it's like, yeah, that's just noise. I don't need to hear that.
The market is down from the astronomical rise it was at in 2020. You know what I mean? Like, if you shoot a rocket into the air, it does have to come back unless it explodes. So it does need to come back at some point, and usually that's back at ground level or a little higher if it landed on a hill. And I think we're on that hill right now. And like you said, the next draft class is going to be good, and I hope that it keeps climbing back up. 2020 is fun, like we've all said, but it in a way it's like it's a mirage. I mean, I don't ever see that craziness happening again, even if a pandemic, God forbid, ever fucking comes swinging around again. Do you guys still think there's loaded boxes out there?
Oh boy.
You knew that was coming. I got 3 breakers on. You guys, I see you guys pull good stuff.
I thought that was on the not discuss list.
Nah.
Well, you're asking the wrong guy, because I'm the guy who always seems to go viral because I open shit that's missing stuff.
Dude, I forgot all about that.
Boxes. I'm getting the unloaded boxes.
I forgot all about that.
Someone
another
can take
amazing
that
moment.
Anytime.
What a
DJ,
moment in
DJ,
cards.
I want to know what you think about this. You haven't said anything in a while. What do you think
about loaded boxes?
Yeah,
I don't really not that I don't buy it. It's like I've tried to explain to people, when you understand the back end of how these cards move through distribution, it requires multiple people. And I mean, dude, you can't get 2 people to agree on anything. So, I mean, the odds of this thing lasting this quote unquote long, and like I told
totally
you,
agree.
I had this conversation just recently, like within the last few weeks. We were DMing, and I said, look, man, I can go through my camera roll, and I, no BS, can just show you what I've pulled in the last 12 months. And I'm telling you, now I'm not going to have 2 logo men like the backyard guys, but I said, I guarantee you there's several $10,000 to $30,000 cards. And I mean, it's a volume when you're ripping. And I said, dude, you look at how much I open, and I open a ton. But you look at what backyard does. I mean, I probably open. I mean, I'm a 10% guy. They're open another 90% more than me. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah. Well, when you open that much, it's a numbers game. And I told you I'm a sales guy, right? I tell myself it's all numbers, man. You open that much, you're going to hit big stuff. It's just a number.
Sure.
The way it is. You open 6 boxes a week, probably not going to hit much.
Yeah, I can remember a time not that long ago, long before backyard ever existed, where everyone said Platinum got loaded boxes, or Leighton's got loaded boxes, or Jaspy's got loaded boxes.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head, DJ. If you open 30 cases of Flawless, guess what? You're going to get some good cards.
Amen.
Right.
If you're like me and I rip a case or 2, I might get some good ones. That's awesome. But
sure.
I'm not expecting to pull 30 logo men, because that's just not what we do. So, you got to take some of that with a grain of salt. And there's a lot of people that like to profit off a conspiracy. So, some of it I think is funny, but I try not to take some of that stuff too serious.
Go ahead, DJ.
I was going to say, just like I told my buddy, I said, let's just hypothetically, You got a guy on inside of Panini.
Mm-hmm.
You got the guy on the inside at Peach State or Southern or whatever your distribution you're going to hook up at.
George
So
Clooney and Brad Pitt.
Now I gotta have two guys. Now I gotta have two guys, right? That's tracking this quote unquote loaded case in a pallet, right? And
Right.
so like you just gotta think through the whole logistics of it all. And the reality of it is it's once perhaps, but over and over and over, dude, no way. There's just no way.
I guess on the side that my cynical side thinks that maybe once in a while someone's fucking around. Whether that's now, would I be wrong in saying that a huge company like Panini, it wouldn't benefit them to have certain people hitting? Why they would choose one, two, or three different sets of people to have them with the hits most of the times, I don't really know why that would be a thing, unless they were, unless that breaker was paying Panini to get the hot box. Correct. I guess.
And I think that's what people think. Would
I put it past somebody to put that offer out there? No fucking way. There's shady people everywhere, and the logistics. No, it sounds extremely difficult. The math, I can't remember his name on Twitter. He did a phenomenal job with the math.
I've seen it.
Collectibles guru.
Seems like a great dude. He's fucking totally into cards, that's for damn sure. I'm like a, I don't know, 60-40 guy. 60 says no, and 40 of me says some of these people getting some juice. I guess when the Kaboom thing happened with Crown Royal, that kind of like made me a little like, whoa. And I was just at the Dallas show when that information came out, and sure as hell, I was walking around. Hey, do you have any Crown Royal basketball? Because I would like to see that box before I give you my $800 to make sure that I can get a goddamn Kaboom, I guess, since it's someone figured out the cheat code. That's not the same, I guess, as somebody getting a loaded box, right? Because, I mean, that's a case hit. And if you got a case, I guess people they could derive, oh, yeah, this is the box. And this is the one that always hits it. Hey, DJ, you got this box? Open it. Oh, you got a Kaboom too? Oh, that's two. Mikey, open one. Oh shit, you got one too. Okay, well, we figured it out. Yeah, I guess I'm in the, I don't know. It's such a weird thing. That's why I wanted to hear from you guys, because you guys open a bunch of shit. And it's not like I've been in breaks with all three of you, and sometimes there's really nothing. No offense. But that's cards. That's fucking cards, man.
That's
you know,
that's 8 in 10 boxes.
That's right. You know, you're not always hitting you're not opening 2 optic mega boxes and hitting, fucking 2 Patrick Mahomes out of them. Talk about random, Justin. But that was amazing.
Only once, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but still crazy. And it is funny. That's why I wanted to ask you guys. It's just I know it's kind of,
just to touch on it, Paul. If you break for a long time and you open a lot of product, you will see everything. and I mean that. I mean, we've had boxes where I'm like, I can't believe all this amazing stuff came out of this 1 8-card box. We'll have cases where we go, I can't believe we didn't hit a single card over $10.
Well, Paulie,
DJ, I mean, he had the box.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy stuff happens. So. Yep. For us, we try to roll with the punches because, like I said, I usually end up getting the weird stuff. But
what a moment!
You do it long enough, you're just gonna see some crazy stuff, and just hope to God that you have it on camera. So whether it's to make things right or just to say like, guys, you have to see this.
Right. Do you guys ever have any? Do you ever have to turn anybody down and say, "Hey, I need you to stop. You're breaking too much." I know it's a weird question, but to me, breaking becomes like a gambling thing for some people. And I see people, fuck, man. I mean, I've seen people spend way too much money in my mind, but if they got to do whatever, it's your money, But like an alcoholic or a drug addict, sometimes you want to be like, hey, man, you got to pay your mortgage. I know you guys don't know people like extra personal, not everybody. And you don't know their situations and whatnot. Have you ever had to tell anybody like, hey, you might want to lay off tonight, or, this has nothing to do with loaded boxes. It's completely left, right, left field, whatever. I don't know. Sometimes I've had people in my family deal with nothing with cards, but with addiction, and I see more. I get cards from people that I can tell have a problem. Whether they gamble too much, sports betting, and then that turns into, oh, I'm just going to do it on cards because I can flip these cards, and I'm gonna buy into this flawless break for fucking $10,000 and hope I hit the greatest card ever and pay off 2 houses. I always wonder from the breakers aspect. Do you ever see anybody kind of like going ham, and you're like, oh, does it ever give you pause? I guess.
I'll jump in. So I think I'm drawing from experience of working like way when I was younger. I worked at a very high-end car dealership, right? Where people would routinely drop 150 grand on a car like we would buy a Happy Meal.
Wow.
So I think you have to be a little careful around making assumptions on where people are at financially. Because
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, I might have someone drop multiple thousands of dollars in a night, and to them, that is nothing.
Right.
And it's not my business to tell them what to do with their money. Now, if somebody reaches out and says, hey, I've gotten myself in trouble, I need to stop doing that. Like, I'll be like, listen, I will help you. You tell me what you need to do. You want me to ban you from the chat? You want me not to take orders from you or whatever I can do to help? That's great. But I try not to make any assumptions on where people are at in life because I don't know. I don't know. And, you always want to look out for people and make sure that people are doing the right things. But who am I to say what people
stop?
Yeah. Well, no. I don't want to make it sound like, well, there's the greedy breaker.
Sure.
No, I'm just like,
no.
I can't tell you how to spend your money, and I don't know what your bills are or whatever. That is not my business. Just like I don't want to talk about my business
of course
to anybody else. So I just assume that if someone is spending a lot of money, that is something that they are capable of. And if they are in trouble financially or say something, then yes, I can help them any way that I can. But I never want to sit there and assume that, something's bad. I don't know. Maybe I'm just naive.
No, what do you guys think?
I've had some conversations over the years with folks, not a ton of times, but a handful of times. And not that I've stopped them. I'll just say, hey, you sure you're good right now? Or, hey, I've got, and honestly, like I could tell, or, hey, I've got some better stuff coming the weekend. Just kind of like, hey, slow down.
That's a great way to handle it.
I mean, really, that's because to Mikey's point, man, I mean, you don't know, right? I mean, you don't know anybody's financial situation. And, I've been in business, I've been in sales, and some of the businesses I've walked into, I thought they were going to be terrible clients, and they've turned into some of the most, the biggest and most spending clients we've ever seen.
Right.
And so, but no, I think, it's I don't know, for me, again, it's all about people. And I try to always, I've got a good finger on the pulse. I joke and tell people all the time, like I've got a memory like an elephant. I got whatever 9,000 followers, and I probably know 3,500 people by name. Probably 1,500 by first and last name. But you're building these relationships, and you get to know people, and you just have a sense where you just say, "Hey, you sure? Hey, I got some better stuff coming on Thursday. Wait, you'll like this better." So.
Because I sometimes see not with you three, but in other breaks I'll watch, and especially on Whatnot, I just see people going just insane sometimes. You'll watch some crazy break, and it'll just be over and over and over, and I'm like, dude, I hope you got your shit together.
You're gonna wake up tomorrow and have some serious regret,
or not. I guess you never know. Justin, what do you think? I know most of the guys in your group, seems like everybody's squared away.
Yeah, we just probably don't open that much product to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I probably would handle that situation similarly to how DJ would. I've never had that come up before. We do have loyal customers. I'm not saying we don't, but we just don't. I mean, we don't open usually that much in that short of time where I would ever be like, hey, something weird's happening.
You spent $30,000 tonight. I think.
Yeah, that would not happen here. That would not happen here. And to DJ's point too, if something like that happened, usually I know most of my customers, at least I've break with them once before, so I at least have an idea of what they normally would. And so if maybe one day it got really far out of the normal, maybe I would ask, but more than likely probably not because we just don't open that much.
It's funny because to me, it's like a non-talked about portion of cards. Just like those investors in 2020 that were like, yeah, I'm gonna make millions off of having all these kabooms in my showcase. It's like, well, I hope you didn't take out like a 19% interest loan to pay back that bank because they're going to crush you.
Yeah. Paulie, here, I tell you this. I will say I have had, I'll bet you just in the last 6 months, probably at least 12 to 15 times I had people reach out to me. Because we're talking about the addiction. It's addicting, right? I play DFS. It's addicting.
Cheers while we're talking about addiction.
It's all addicting. But I've had people reach out to me and just say, hey, I'm deleting the app. Hey, I'm unfollowing. Hey, I love everything you're doing, but I just got to stop. You know what I mean? I'm getting out of control. And that's a reality.
I see it with stacking.
It's a reality too. And and so, you never take any of it personal ever, right? And you just got to feel for them and hope, I hope the hell they can figure out whatever mess they're in and get out of it, man. Because, dude, it's like crap. They got themselves in a mess over sports cards. Holy sheesh.
Yeah, it is wild. It's such a that's back to the positivity point. Cards are great, and
no, they are.
They're so fucking good that it's like a drug for some people. They love that high of that endorphin rush when you do hit that card. Whether it's by yourself, you open some fucking pack from Walmart and you hit a super refractor or somebody insane. Whatever those moments are, that chasing the hit is a driver, I mean, they talk about it with so many things that all people get so hung up on this endorphin push, constantly searching for that. Oh, this is my moment. This is my new car smell. I want to smell that every day. And then, 5 years down the road, your car looks like shit because you don't clean it anymore and it stinks. And it's like, I want to get a new car. It's like, oh, okay, well, you can't. I don't know. Yeah, it's funny when I walk around the shows and I kind of talk to people about breaks and whatnot. I mean, even with Rob Veras when he was on the first episode, go listen to it if you haven't. And now, he was talking about I don't get into breaks at all. I never have, never will. I think it's just he just doesn't like it. And to me, I was kind of taken back. That was the last thing I thought that guy would say. Very nice guy, insane card shop, obviously, massive card show. Seems like the West Coast National deal happening, there. But it was so weird to hear a guy that's kind of seasoned in the hobby to be like, yeah, no, I just don't do it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Because I think it's needed with guys that are doing it the right way. And it's not needed. I guess the other side to your guys' coin, the shitty side, those sides kind of fuck it up for everybody. I mean, just like and I wouldn't put the backyard guys on that side of the coin. Even I would for the lame shit they did, they've done in the past. But if they're still around, I guess people are still fucking buying. So you can't really tell them to go fuck off, because they're doing their thing. Not that I'll be breaking with them anytime soon. But yeah, it's something I always see with people, whether it's in cards. You sometimes get that look of like, what did I do? Why did I join so many breaks? Or why didn't somebody stop me? Or something like that. And I'm always like, sometimes I see it in stack sales. I'll see somebody come in and I'll look at their tab and I kind of go, oh, hey. And I'll shoot them a DM. I'll be like, hey, man. I mean, my business is a little different than your guys because they pay at the end of the month. So sometimes I got to chase people around, but that's just the nature of the beast. You guys deal with it at the moment, and it's kind of it could get out of hand for somebody, I guess. That's why I asked that question. I just was super curious. Yeah. Well, fellas, I'm reaching the end here.
Probably got any other topics so we don't end on such a downer?
I kind of like ending there. I'm just kidding. Well, actually, the biggest question I did have, where do you guys see yourselves growing? you know, Mikey and DJ, you still have another job, right?
No.
No. So both
No,
full time, Justin, you're working. Do you guys see yourselves growing the business? You know, Mikey, I know you said, you know, you and your brother are at capacity, but is there a 5-year, 10-year plan of growth where you're just like, hey, I'm going to do this and this is it?
I mean, my goals, I've got a ton of goals for the rest of my working life. You know, I've got a young daughter. Obviously, I'm going to continue to work while she's still in school, but I want to retire early and actually go out and enjoy life. I think part of that is just, you know, seeing people around me having to work when they're like in their mid 70s, and also dealing with having cancer a couple of years ago. You know, my perspective is completely different than most people in that, you know, I'm like, you know, that's why I'm like, I don't want to work a corporate job. I want to do something I'm going to enjoy, and I'm going to figure out a way to make it work. And then we kind of did this. So to me, it's like, I don't really know if growth is our goal so much as maintaining the level of fun that we have, making sure that we can pay our bills, you know, making sure that we could do nice things for our families and so forth. And if I'm having fun, I could pay my bills, the rest will sink in, man. Everything else is gravy from there. So, you know, I think it's good to have a plan, and it's good to kind of work that plan, but I'm very comfortable with where we're at. And if we get a little bit bigger, that's great. But I'm just not in the boat of, you know, oh, I'm
super expansion.
I don't want to go build a break studio. I'm like, people like it because like this is my house. And I mean,
right.
Like, we operate out of that, and the cat and the dog are everywhere, and they drive people, you know, me nuts. And so, like, to me, it's like, this is just us. So, you know, and so forth. So, you know, if I ever did grow, it'd probably because I'd bring another friend on or something like that. But
sure,
you know, it's got to make sense for me. And I just never, like I said, never just really envisioned ourselves as, hey, we're going to have like 6-7 breakers, and we're going to break it every night on 4 different platforms. And that's just not my goal. So, you know, and that's okay. It's not every business has to be defined as successful by growth. It's more of like, can you sustain what you're doing? Can you continue to bring in new customers? Can you continue to excel at what you do well at, so that, you know, you can continue on? So we don't really envision ourselves getting smaller, and I really don't see us getting much bigger.
Yeah, it's one of those shoot the free throws kind of thing. You know, keep practicing, keep doing what you're doing, and refining the craft that you're doing. I mean, all three of you are trying to become masters in a way, air quotes masters. It's kind of what everybody does when they find something that they enjoy doing. It just makes the mastery a little easier. DJ, what about you? You're gonna keep expansion?
No. So man, we've grown like crazy the last 2 years, and
you have, brother.
I'm actually I'm actually looking to kind of slow it down and go the other way, to be honest with you, man. It's been insane, man. Again, people have no idea. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, if you saw my world the last 24 months, it's been just the wildest and most insane, ferocious craziness I've ever seen. And to be honest, man, the last few months has been kind of cool, calm, and collected, and it's been nice. It's been refreshing. And yeah, so I was talking to my wife actually about maybe perhaps changing our hours or whatever, you know what I mean, days. I mean, we've been rocking Wednesday through Sunday forever, but
spoiler alert. Everybody's like, wait, what?
We'll see. No, we'll see what
happens. Heard it here first.
That's right.
We're revamping our rewards program. I'm looking at changing my. In fact, I'll just tell you right now. My wife was like, "Why don't you just do Monday through Friday? That way we can have weekends off." Because, dude, I've given up every Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night for almost 3 straight years.
Yeah.
I mean, we take vacation. Yeah. I break cards from Colorado. I break cards from the Gatlinburg. I break cards from Florida. You know, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. Perhaps this is out of control. Perhaps we can dial it down and kind of live more of a normal life. And so that's kind of what really my goal here looking into 2023 is, to kind of slow it down a little bit. To Mikey's point, I don't have to do 9 gazillion breaks, man.
Right.
You know, I just want to have fun, make a living, take care of people, and enjoy life.
Yeah, I would say if you're doing your job that you pick to do, like this job, this business that all of us are kind of running in our own ways, and it becomes, I mean, it's a grind, like we all know it is, Me stack selling is a grind. You guys breaking is a fucking grind. But if you start to be like, fuck, I got a break tonight. I really don't want to do this. Might as well go work in an office,
Exactly.
bro. Like,
Exactly.
go to fucking app.
It coming out of my mouth. I've been in an office for 30 years, man. I'm telling you, I'm done with that. So,
Oh, I don't blame you. I mean, my wife thinks it's wild that we'll be out of town and I decided to take pictures before we left, and I'm doing a stack sale while we're at dinner. I mean, probably not the best time to be doing it, but at least I'm present, you know. Justin, how about you? You know, because I know you're smaller, you know, in a way than these two guys.
Yeah.
And you work.
I mean, yeah, it would kind of just depend on the other situation. I enjoy my full-time job quite a bit. It does create a lot of extra stress when I'm trying to do both. I feel like I'm at a spot where I feel like we could grow and do well. It's just about whether I want to. And I think that's kind of what these two are saying as well.
Yep.
It's like I do see some really awesome opportunities, but it's just not sustainable for me right now to do both full time. So I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it necessarily, growing and doing it full time, but just have to see what happens and see where things go. But what I think you're hearing is like, we're content with where we are, like, because it's not like we're lazy, but like we're happy with where we are because we're not in it only for the money, if that makes
Right.
sense, right? Like we do it to hang out.
Money's good,
people.
but
yeah. But I mean, if us three were,
that's right.
Yeah, I mean, if us three were obsessed about the money part of it, then all of our answers would have been different. So,
yeah, and you'd be fucking end up hating what you're doing. You'd be like, be the person that's like, oh fuck, I gotta fill this break tonight. You know, this job sucks. Why aren't you guys buying in my breaks? You know, typing on Twitter like a cat. You know.
Yeah, I know.
I've seen those guys.
I have too,
dude.
as well. I have as well.
It's funny,
dude. I have heard some things in streams that I'm fucking blown away. They're literally just, it's 10 in the morning, like, yeah, I got this big breakup, and then they'll be like, $45. What the fuck? Blah blah blah. This is a $200 break. I'm like, dude, this is not not good. You should just you did this yourself. We didn't tell you to put the price there, but you're on an auction website. What do you think is going to happen unless you're one of these like mega break houses, you know, that has like this Kim Kardashian following? Because if you got that, sell it for whatever you want. Mikey, you brought up something that I wanted to ask you about. It might be too personal, but I know you're pretty open with it. The cancer thing. What cancer did you have?
A pretty rare synovial sarcoma was what it's called. It's like it was a growth on my foot. It's a long story. I chronicled it online and stuff like that. I have no problem talking about it.
Yeah.
Super rare. Only affects so many people a year. Long story short, had to go through a pretty intensive surgery, radiation and rehab.
Wow.
Basically took all of 2019. So I don't recommend it. Try not to get cancer if you can.
Good call.
It sucks, but like I said, it changes your perspective if you have any kind of health scare at all. So you really think about like what's important to you, and I'll just piggyback on like what Justin said, because I was you, dude. Like literally a couple of years ago, working full time. I'd come home at 5. From 5 to 1 in the morning, I was doing cards. And I was like, something has got to give, because for a multitude of reasons, and whether it's through health or whatever, you just kind of eventually you start to figure out what your priority is. And for me, it's like cards is fun. I can work for myself. I can try this entrepreneur thing. That's something I've always wanted to do, run my own business and be fully responsible. And really what we boiled it down to was like, we looked and we're like, if we do the business and we don't make money the first year, are we going to be okay? We ran the budget and everything like that. And once we saw that we were, I was like, F it, man. We're only here once. I'm going for this. And if it sucks, I'll just go back and find another job or whatever. Yep. So, I always tell people, I'm like, listen, follow your passions, whatever they are. Because if you really love what you do, whether you work for yourself, whether you work in cards or whatever, but if you really love what you do, you never really work a day in your life. And that should be the penultimate goal for everybody, is to love what you do so much that even the stuff that sucks, like, oh, I got to put 200 packages together, or, oh, this break isn't selling, or, oh, you know, I got allocated 30 cases of Top Series 2. What the hell am I going to do with this? You know, whatever it is, whatever it is,
that's right.
The minusculest of problems in the grand scheme of things. So just, you know, try to stay positive and enjoy life, and do something that's going to make you happy, because that will have such a net positive result for your life in general, that the rest of the stuff takes care of itself.
Did you have that positivity? Sorry to be focusing on Mikey right now, real quick, other two fellas. Did you have that heavy positivity and that seize the moment attitude prior to the cancer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I always was. I think it came out a little bit more. And
sure.
Long story short, I had a buddy who interestingly enough, had the same kind of cancer, which is crazy. And the biggest advice he gave me, he was like, listen, you know, you're going to have really bad days. And the thing that is going to get you through that is you just got to stay positive. You know, you got to find the good in everything. And I did. I had horrible days for a bunch of stuff, but I always try to keep a good attitude. And I strongly think that made the recovery and the beating of cancer, like, that made it possible. Like, if I had a shit attitude, or if I gave up, you know, I don't know if I'd be here or not. So to me, it's like, you know, we're going to get through this. We're going to work. It's going to be hard, but, you know, you gotta stay there, look for the bright side or whatever. And yeah, even in the toughest moments, there's always something good. So you just got to try to look for what that is. And it's a mindset. It's not easy, but I think most people would be so much happier if they really tried to concentrate on the things that they can control, and they really try to take a positive outlook.
This is a much better thing to end on. Thanks for sharing, Mikey.
Oh, you're welcome, guys.
I knew it was coming. Yeah, I can't double down on double down on every single thing you said, especially I haven't given my background to many people, and only a few people know stuff about me, and it's probably not going to come out yet, but it will one day, I'm sure. Nothing bad. But I've had my own health things roaming about in the past, and seizing that moment is beyond important to me when people talk about it. I love it when guys like David Goggins talk about it. If you guys don't know who that is, he's a ex-Navy SEAL, super mindset. I'm sure most people know who the hell he is. Even to the people that, just like Mikey, that had cancer, and they're like, oh, fuck, the lights could have gone out there. I need to seize it even more, even though you were already positive and treating every moment like it was your last. It's funny how much those little moments amplify all that for everybody. And I know this has nothing to do with cards, really, but in a way it does. I mean, like, if you really enjoy what the fuck you're doing, treat it like it's your baby, and like it could just go away, and enjoy what you're doing. And put your fucking all into it. So often than not, like in 2020, everyone jumped into the business thinking it was a massive investment, and now they're like bitching and moaning. But if you would have went into it realistic, and you really enjoyed it and loved it and treated it like it was your baby and it could go away any moment, you'd still be here, and you'd be like, yeah, I'm still rocking, and I need to do the best I can with what I got. But I appreciate those kind words that you said, for many, many reasons.
Yeah,
that is a great point to everyone starting a business, even, or just waking up tomorrow. Other gentlemen, you got anything to add? If not, I'm gonna, say night to all you fine friends.
Oh, this was great. Thanks for bringing us on, Paulie. I appreciate it, man.
Yep, honored to be here, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, Mikey, are you happy to be here?
This is awesome. Thank you so much for the invite. I appreciate it, and make sure to like and subscribe to the TastyBrains podcast.
Fucking
Boom.
A, dude. Boom.
Wait, how much did you pay him for that?
Text in the mail, right, Paul?
He's sending me a He's sending me a loaded box.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it.
Crown Royal, straight of flawless.
Top Series 2. Top Series 2.
But yeah, I appreciate all three of you. I really wanted to do this. I felt it was different than what most of the other hobby channels are doing, especially with three guys that all break on the same platform and all have amazing customer service. So if you do not break with these three gentlemen, save a little money, save a little Christmas money, maybe put it on your Christmas list that you need to get into a break. I'm sure Triple Threads is going to be roaming about here very soon amongst all three of these gentlemen.
Oh, yes.
Amongst many other fine products, Contenders Optic Basketball. I'm sure some of you are going to have it, if not all. So yes, Wiscardsin Breaks, MikeyB, and DjSchrum, all on Twitter. Give him a follow. Just watch their breaks. You don't even need to join them at first, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Fellas, I appreciate it. And thanks for coming on the TastyBrains podcast. Like Mikey said, like, comment, subscribe.
Yes.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I'm everywhere. And we're out.
Thanks again,
fellas.
Appreciate you guys.
Hey, buddy.
Appreciate it.